another area that gets focused on, and then another there. You guys remember that? The strategic clustering? So what I want to show you is kind of in practice how it's worked for us. So if you look at the types of clients that we've worked with, you know, you're looking if this is their revenues. From the standpoint of businesses that are out there. So what we've kind of called these are the B&I businesses. Probably do better, go below it. These were kind of the accelerator businesses, EO businesses, and then these are kind of medium, mid-sized business, and this is more big business. So what you're going to have here is about 96% of businesses live below the 1 million line. And then about, I think it's 0.001% ever get to 100 million. So call this 1% here at 10 million. So for us, if this is a timeline-wise, we kind of went like this with the clients that we worked with. From the standpoint of, we started working with B&I businesses, so that was, you know, and if you start even before that, you've got college. You know, so specifically, it started kind of with working with student organizations. Then it got kind of pulled up into B&I businesses, and so this is where Brandon and I both kind of met in this space. So as we started working together, we have kind of sporadically all over the place, but once we joined Accelerator, that cluster started kind of solidifying, and so we kind of got pulled up into there. And you know, we've had some bigger clients, some smaller, and recently we've really started to be kind of in the 1 to 10 range. You guys notice that, like the clients we're working with are starting to be bigger. So we've kind of gotten pulled up into that range. So from a growth perspective, we've really focused in on kind of pushing ourselves one level above. And this seems simple and it seems intuitive, but what you got to keep in mind is traditionally growth patterns focus within vertical markets instead of where we're looking horizontal markets. You know, we talked about we work with the horizontal cross-section of entrepreneurs. Typically, people focus on verticals, whether it be healthcare or finance or whatever. So this is actually kind of different the way that we're approaching this. But the reason why it works is because we did it in this perspective, that we got pulled into specific markets instead of just trying to market to everybody. Because then at that point, we could really focus in on our organizational time as far as we were involved in B&I. Here we were involved with Accelerator. Now we're involved with EO, which allowed us to really focus our time, energy, and effort kind of a mile deep and an inch wide. And that's why we were able to kind of pull up these cross sections. So over time, what you're going to see is, and where this came from, as Tony asked a question last week of kind of what's our growth plan, is these little dots that are in here, they're businesses that are growing also. These aren't static places in time. So over time, some of these businesses are going to continue to grow, but we're going to grow with them. So some of these businesses may end up here, but the mentality of how their business is structured and how we work with them is going to still remain the same. So we'll be able to play up in this area. You also are going to have these businesses down here in the accelerator standpoint that are going to start moving up this way as well. So then they're going to start kind of being out in here. And so we're going to have more of those $1 to $10 million businesses. So over time, we're going to have not only more businesses here that we're going to be able to work with, but we're also going to have some of these businesses that pull us up out of our normal starting range, but they're still going to have the type of businesses that we want to work with. So we're going to have two kind of growth patterns, is that it's going to go over and up. So at some point, we're going to have lots of businesses in the 10 to 100, but they're going to be ones that have the mentality and the entrepreneurial spirit of 1 to 10. Does that make sense? So the cool factor about this is the point that we've only had to focus in on our marketing and our time on one little space. So if this is your whole spectrum of who to focus in and who to market to, it's really a lot easier and a lot more cost effective to focus in on little small targeted areas. This is where we talk about targeted marketing. And it's no different for, we kind of practice what we preach in that standpoint. The difference is that we're targeting our niches in that horizontal cross section. What this is going to allow us to do over time is continue to grow our business and never really run out of clients. The agencies that focus on those types of businesses, that's where it becomes ultra competitive, where you've got thousands of agencies trying to compete for the same business. And more often than not, those companies bounce around because they want to try new things. The great part about being in this section here is that there's almost an unlimited number of potential clients. And the same thing will happen geographically. If you think about it from kind of a time versus distance perspective, right now you could probably put this same spread, the orange circles being St. Louis, and we've got a client in San Diego, we've got a client in Texas, we've got clients in New York, we've got clients, all over, just kind of scattered. But we don't have the budget, the time, or the resources to try to market to nationwide. What's going to end up happening, though, is, say Satish turned into a referral machine, and we started getting lots of potential referrals in San Diego. Okay, we'll have to go to San Diego to do some more business. It'd be terrible. But the thing is we're going to get pulled into San Diego, or we're going to get pulled into New York. We're not going to push it, because that's just not an effective use of resources. So in the same spectrum, this can be used with markets, both in verticals, horizontals, and geography. Questions? Did this clarify anything? Did you guys already know this? Do your mouths work?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you understand the strategy? Let's start with that.
We're working with businesses that we're going to keep working with while they grow, and we do as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main takeaway.
So there's that part of it. We're going to continue to work with businesses as they grow up into our space, and hopefully as businesses grow out of our starting block, then we stay with them. So then we have kind of a two-part.
Okay, so that horizontal is the businesses that are coming up and into that space.
Yeah. So that's these.
The other cross section are the businesses that are already in the space and going to move beyond it.
Correct. So there's these two growth strategies, 1, 2. What this will allow us to do by staying in this space right here is this allows us to really focus in on our competitive advantage. So our competitive advantage is to be quick and nimble and effective, but bring that high-end strategy and high-end creative. So I've given this analogy a few times. Working with big businesses, we've got the talent here to do that. The problem is the bureaucracy and the red tape that you have to deal with. I mean, you guys have worked on a couple of these types of clients. It's meeting after meeting, it's have to check with legal and all these other things. And so what ends up happening is it gets mired down in the details. So it's kind of like the greatest show on turf back in the late 90s, early 2000s. If they were on turf, they could be fast, they could be nimble, they could make the cuts that they needed to make. But when they were playing in the rain and the mud and the snow, their competitive advantage was reduced, and they weren't able to leverage their strength to take advantage of it. So for us, stereotypically, this echelon is very bureaucratic and there's a lot of red tape, so it can't take advantage of our competitive advantage of being nimble and effective and we're in fast pace, where these entrepreneurs still can take advantage of that. So that's why this growth strategy is for entrepreneurially run companies that just happen to grow to be larger but still have that mindset of